The latest news, national issues, the political scene, and conversations with prominent personalities. All these firsthand at the forefront. Good morning. On behalf of Attorney Karen Jimeno, I'm Ferdi Salvador. Today, we look back at the highlights and most memorable guests that this program has achieved, as the very first show that aired on Bilyonaryo News Channel on July 2024. These milestones made the viewing public's daily morning routine more interesting as we deliver the other side of news at the forefront. After more than a month of prodding and coordination, Senator Chiz Escudero, who never grants interviews outside the Senate, finally agreed on live studio guesting, his very first as Senate President. He was relaxed and was at his charming best and made viewers take another look at the newly installed Senate President.
But in your case, are you worried that you'll have to then try to maintain your leadership, or do you see any?
I'm not really worried, Karen. This is a position afforded and accorded to me, not only by God, but by our members. And I serve at their pleasure. A Senate President can be removed at any time, for as long as there is a session. A Senate President is only safe during recess. But whenever there's a session, any member can stand up and question his right to hold that office. So I don't really think of it that way, as I need to defend my position. It depends on the majority, really.
Let's talk more about you, Senate President Chiz. In 2016, you ran for Vice President. Are you considering running again for a higher position in 2028 or beyond?
No. As you said, I ran already, been there, done that. So shouldn't you be wary already of that? Actually, to my mind, this is more than I have ever expected to be Senate President. So the answer is definitely no, Karen. I'm happy where I am, and I'm old enough to know what I can or cannot do, and I'm old enough to know, too, in politics, that these matters are matters of destiny that no man can plan for.
Wow, very deep. As your Senate President right now, and your wife, Heart Evangelista, is the leader or the head of the Senate Spouses Foundation. Is that customary, or was she elected to this position?
No, that's actually part of the bylaws and constitution of the Senate spouses, that whoever is the spouse of the Senate President will automatically be the president of the Spouses Foundation. Now, for example, there was a time that we had a single president, or the wife of the Senate President didn't want to be active. So usually it was the sister or the mom who took on that role, elected by the members. So it's elected still formally, but the Constitution and bylaw states that it's the prerogative of the Senate President.
Okay. Do you ask Heart for advice when it comes to politics, or when you want to, or do you ask for her help if you want to have information also disseminated?
Actually, no, it's the reverse. Hart, for example, went on live with respect to this holiday issue because she was being asked to. So it was more for her, really, not for me, that we did that, because she was being peppered and pestered too in her social media accounts with respect to this, that we love you, but why is your husband doing this? So it was more really for her than for me. I try to advise her to calm down and to really not be affected by these things, because in politics, those who do not like you will always see a glass half empty. Those who love you and agree with you will see it always half filled. And you will just simply waste a lot of time answering each and every comment given, when the issues are quite clear with respect to our position.
Okay, here's a showbiz question. What do you love most about Heart?
I guess her innocence. Her innocence, even at this stage in her life, that she's been through a lot, she's done a lot. But some things still surprise her. Some things still catch her by surprise, and you see the amazement in her eyes with respect to these new things. That, more than anything else, I guess, fascinates me with her.
You and Heart seem to have very different personalities and lifestyles. How do you say...
That's obvious.
I say seem because we might not be perceiving it correctly, but how do you see these traits as working to cultivate your relationship?
Well, as the saying goes, opposites attract, and that you complement each other actually makes for a good and long-standing relationship because she gets to fill up what I do not have. I get to fill up what she does not have. I am not good at fashion. She's good at it. Not that I listen to her all the time. Obviously, with what I'm wearing, I don't. And she wants to learn about issues affecting her, or those close to her, and her community and family as well in the country. So I guess, so for example, we have sessions where she gets to ask about government, like the 3 branches of government, so on and so forth. So we learn from each other in the process, simply because, again, we came from different worlds. We are opposites, so the curiosity with respect to what is going on in our respective lives remains there despite the past 9-10 years.
And ask you to give up politics for that. Would you consider giving up politics?
I might give up politics with or without the children factor, but we have been trying. But unfortunately, God hasn't given us one yet. She has went through 2 miscarriages directly by her, and we also have a miscarriage through surrogacy. So that makes it a 3rd. I think she wants to try again. She's open to trying again, hopefully by late this year or next year.
Well,
Pero ang concern niya, sana daw kamukha niya, hindi ko kamukha.
Well, I think you would make a good combination.
I don't know about that, but she's the safer bet, I think.
As Senate President, what would you want to be your legacy?
I think I'm too young and it's too early for me to be thinking of legacy as a Senate President. I've only been in this position a few months. And I'm still at the stage of working and doing my job as such, and haven't had that much time actually to think of what my legacy will be. And my basic definition of legacy, this should be written or said by someone with the benefit of hindsight. Enough time passing by and let them look back and see indeed what that person was able to do, instead of me judging myself this early about what that will be. Di ba, Karen? Maski anong nilagay mo sa malapit, hindi mo mababasa. But with some distance, then you can see it more clearly.
Well, you are often seen not just in political events, but also in celebrity events because of your wife. So, what do you do to relax? Because you seem to be very busy.
I sleep, Karen. I love sleep. I value my sleep. I enjoy sleeping, actually. Probably before my high blood episode, sometime late March, I would sleep 3-4 hours a day. But since I was given a chance to experience sleep, because they gave me meds to sleep, I've enjoyed sleeping since then. So now it's 7 or 8 hours minimum of sleep for me. So if I have time, if I'm not doing anything, I sleep. I'd rather do that more than anything else.
So this high blood episode, was this the health scare that Hart mentioned before?
Yes, in March 28th. My BP was what, 220 over 120?
Wow, that's really very high.
Apparently, but I wasn't feeling anything. So that made it more dangerous, I guess.
Do you exercise or
I
what
do
else?
actually, that's ironic. I do. I do, at least at that time, I was doing about 15,000 steps a day. I was doing gym workout. My labs were perfect. But then again, the doctor says, as they say, as the saying goes, shit happens, it just happened.
And apparently, I guess, it was the lack of sleep as well.
Apparently, yes. The lack of sleep, because I wasn't even stressed at that time.
Well, you're still very young, Senator Chiz. Do you see yourself retiring from politics
Yes.
anytime? Yes.
Yes. See, the answer came immediate. Yes. I've been in politics for quite some time, Karen. 9 years as a member of Congress. Today, 14 years as a member of the Senate, so that makes it 23, and 3 years as governor, that makes it 26. Nearly half my life I've served in government. And I would want to live and enjoy life not in a wheelchair. I'm 54, turning 55 this year. So I would want to enjoy life too and relax, not to be running after certain things or being concerned about a lot of things. Yes, I think that time is coming. My term is finishing in 2028. I can run again if I decide to do so, but I haven't quite decided yet if indeed that's what I want to do. So if running for re-election is not even a sure thing for me right now, what more your earlier question of running for higher office? That is clearly not within my radar nor my peripheral vision.
But at the moment, you haven't decided yet what you plan to do. Should you retire from politics?
Teach. I'd like to teach. I was a teacher before I ran for office in 1998. I was teaching at the UP College of Law. I'd like to teach again if they'll have me again or in some other college. But I would like to go back to teaching.
Oh, that's a very noble profession.
And it's fun too. It's fun because if you see the face of a student inside a classroom light up, very much like what I see in Heart earlier, I told you, it gives you unending joy that you were able to impart some knowledge to someone. Double the fact that whenever you see a student outside and they're proud to introduce you as their teacher, that gives you unending joy as well, which I miss a lot from my teaching days. I'll give you an example, Karen. Secretary Sani Angara, former Senator Sani Angara, was actually a student of mine at the University of the Philippines College of Law.
I didn't know that. And then you became colleagues in Senate.
I was only 2 years his senior. I'm 54, he's now 52. So I started young, I taught at a young age too, but it gives you unending joy that your former student, for example, became a congressman, became a senator, well, and is now DepEd secretary. So it would be nice to have that feeling again.
Another first for At the Forefront is the Congresswoman's first full live TV interview, even before she became a household name in Quadcom hearings. She came in early, way ahead of her call time. Batangas 2nd District Representative Jervil Jinky Beatrix Luistro impressed a lot of viewers, logging in more than 150,000 views in YouTube alone.
If we look at Executive Order 13, it talks about clarifying the powers of the agencies to address illegal gambling. So why do you think this was an encroachment?
Attorney, we have to go back to the very charter of PAGCOR. That is Presidential Decree number 1869. This is the law which created PAGCOR, and it granted as well the power to regulate all gaming activities. It provided for a definition of what gambling is. And gambling as defined in PD 1869 is the traditional gambling without use of online, without use of technology. It made mention of sabong, it made mention about mahjong, it even made mention about betting sa karera ng mga kabayo, things like that. And then we have this RA 9487. It technically extended the franchise of PAGCOR into another 25 years. The same definition of gambling was adopted in RA 9487. However, after some time, back in 2017, the former president issued EO number 13, which suddenly made mention about online gambling. That was the first time na na-mention ang online gambling. And then next to this was the issuance of licenses by the PAGCOR. In my humble opinion, attorney, I believe that if the intention of the former president then was really to legalize gambling in the Philippines, particularly online gambling, they should have referred the matter to the Congress, which has the exclusive authority to enact laws. But what happened was, hindi po nila binalik sa Kongreso and instead passed this EO number 13, which opened the gate for the operation and establishment of POGOs in the Philippines.
Congresswoman Jinky, I'm going to switch gears and go to something lighter. So we want to know more about you. In the first place, why is your nickname Beatrix? That's a very unique nickname.
Beatrix is actually the namesake of my husband, former mayor of Mabini, Batangas, and he was supposed to run back in 2022 for congressman, but because of some challenges, which I believe are demolition job, the fabricated cases of rape, we decided to switch. He stayed to run for mayor of Mabini, and I continued his congressional bid for Batangas 2nd District. And this Beatrix thing was really embraced and loved by the people of Batangas 2nd District. So it started just as a namesake of my husband, but this is really, for me now, is a term of endearment by the people of Batangas 2nd District for this representation who have prioritized really the people over anybody else.
So Beatrix doesn't really stand for anything. It's more of a nickname that your husband calls you.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I've never heard of Beatrix. So you call yourself an accidental politician. It's your first term as congresswoman to take the place of your husband.
Yeah.
How did you manage at the time when he was supposed to run? You said there were fabricated rape charges. How did you manage that? That must be something that's difficult.
Well, actually, since this was my first time to engage in politics, really, I found it very challenging to introduce myself to the people because I was never a barangay captain, I was never a mayor. As in, this is my first time to engage in politics. So I had to share to the people the challenges that my husband and my family went through because of his intention to run for congressman. And even describing myself that the only woman of the mayor of Mabini. And that makes the fabricated cases of rape really impossible.
So at least you stood by your husband at,
Yes, of
at
course.
that time. And for 2025, that's just around the corner, what are your plans as husband and wife? Are you going to run for a second term, or is it your husband who's going to run as congressman?
I will be running again for Congresswoman of Batangas 2nd District. And for us to better serve my hometown, my husband will be running for mayor of Mabini.
And your kids, how many kids do you have?
I actually have 3, but I have 2 stepchildren. One is a doctor, one is about to take the bar exam.
Oh, wow.
And these 3 children of ours are still studying.
And how are they coping with 2 parents who are both politicians?
I think my children are very flexible because in the span of 1 year, when I started my campaign in May 2021, I think they learned to adjust already.
How are you balancing being a mom and also a congresswoman?
Well, I make it a point that when I am here in Quezon City, in Manila, that is Monday to Wednesday, the schedule for the session in Congress, I really find time to spend dinner with my children.
Well, we've seen how you perform in a congressional inquiry against POGOs. What is your personal advocacy?
My personal advocacy is to promote the best interest of the people and to deter all elements which prevent the promotion of this interest of the Filipino people. POGO in itself, I believe, is not illegal. However, the circumstances surrounding the POGO, the crimes that were committed, the people behind, this is what makes POGO very much negative to all of us.
Another long coordination was the first live full interview of former Senator Leila de Lima after she was freed from incarceration. 7 years of detention did not diminish her courage and bravery, mincing no words against former President Rodrigo Duterte.
The days were and months and then years were going by that you were in prison. Did you ever regret at some point that you were critical of President Duterte at that time?
Not at all. Not a single moment that I would regret what happened to me, that I would regret any of the things that I did, being really vocal, a staunch critic of the policies of the former administration, especially the approach to the drug war. I was so against it. I was critical, and that really triggered. Not to mention the fact na dati na talagang may galit yan sa akin, the former president, because as far back as in 2009, when I was CHR chair, I led the investigation into the Davao Death Squad killings in 2009. So dati na talaga akong, paborito. So lumala when he became a president and I became a senator. Malay ko ba na magkakasabay kami in elective positions. And then malay ko ba na he would also be doing the same what they did in Davao, yung rampant summary executions at a national level. I could not find peace in myself if I remained quiet.
If you had the opportunity to face former President Duterte right now, what would you say to him?
Simple. Admit your guilt and pay for your crimes.
As the country celebrated the twin Olympic medals of Carlos Yulo, at the forefront invited Eldrew and Eliza, younger siblings of Carlos Yulo, for their first ever live full TV interview. Accompanying the Yulo siblings is their professional mentor and manager, Miss Cynthia Carrion. Viewers found out that apart from Carlos, his younger siblings are also potential medalists in the next Olympics.
One thing I remember when I was watching Carlos Yulo after winning, when he was being interviewed, always mentioning you. Thank you to Ma'am Cynthia. So it's really been an honor to have you here.
Thank you. Because really, I'm not bragging, but without me, there will be no Carlos Yulo because I really pushed these children.
And now you have two of the successors of Carlos
but
here.
I hope you don't hate me for pushing you too much.
And we'll go back to the question we had before the break. So now that the three of you are in the same sport, is there such a thing as sibling rivalry? May sibling rivalry ba kayong tatlo? Wala.
They help each other, in fact.
Oh, so I'm sure, Cynthia, you get to see the dynamics.
Yes.
How is that? Are they pushing each other to be better?
Yes, that's it. And like this boy, can I say? He's so cute. When he was still tiny, you think I'm gonna be better than my brother.
Wow. That's what he would say.
Yes, because at this age, he's really surpassing Carlos already.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And he started training earlier at age 5. And
yes.
then we have Isa that started at 3.
Exactly.
My gosh, I have a 3-year-old right now. I can't imagine him doing gymnastics already. But
Yes, you
that's
should start.
amazing.
You know, I will tell you about gymnastics. If you start with gymnastics, of course, you'll start with playing, not very hard, no? You will have discipline, you will have flexibility, you'll have balance, and you'll have strength. And from that, you can go to any sport.
Kayo, when you started gymnastics, was it because also of your Kuya Kaloy? Or from the start, like, would you have loved it even if your Kuya Kaloy was not a gymnast?
Maybe it's because of our brother po. Kasi lagi po kami dinadala sa jeep. Ikaw kapasalita, sinisipon ako.
Ano po kasi, kada training po, pumupunta po kami sa gym, tapos pinapanood po namin sila. And sa ano rin po, mga competitions din po. Katulad din po ng palaro ng Manila Meet. Pag nagko-compete po yung ate namin at si Kuya Kaloy, nanonood po kami lagi.
And they cheer for him.
So na-inspire din talaga kayo.
Dahil din po sa kanila. And nagustuhan din naman po namin. And kaya namin po pinursue yung gymnastics kasi nagustuhan din namin. Kasi akala ko po puro playground lang. Kasi laro-laro lang po nung una. Pero ngayon po, iba na po. Pero I still love doing gymnastics po.
So what can we expect from the Yulo siblings in the coming years? So are there going to be any competitions before the 2028 LA?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
plenty.
there's so many.
A lot. There's Asian Games.
SEA Games.
There is the SEA Games. I want all of you to win the SEA Games.
She's gonna go first next year, Mom.
Yeah, that one also. There's so many. A lot.
So are we going to see more gold medals?
Yes.
We'll do our
Of
best.
course. We will do our best to get the gold medal, the Olympics especially, and in the other competitions.
Just this month, Eldrew Yulo made headlines when he won 8 gold medals in the Hong Kong Artistic Gymnastics International Invitation Championships. Congratulations, Eldrew. Definitely you'll hear more good news and cheers from the Yulo siblings in 2025 in this program. We'll have more at the forefront at its best when we return after a short break.
Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Rain Musngi. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. Apple is closing in on a historic $4 trillion stock market valuation.
ICP is a general purpose blockchain wherein you can build anything and everything.
Market cap of the entire cryptocurrency world to almost 3 trillion. That's almost the money supply of the US.
Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel, always on top.
Good morning, I'm Ferdi Salvador.
I'm Mikey Oreta, and welcome to Industry Beacon, where we shine a light on the trailblazers, the disruptors, and the industry leaders shaping our future. And in each episode, we'll explore how they're staying ahead in their respective fields, one industry at a time.
The industry changes quite rapidly.
We know where to go. We've got our comfort zone.
Those are early manifestations for the of what
I'm happy you told me that because now I know I'm not getting Alzheimer's.
Industry Beacon on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
After his retirement from politics in 2022, none was heard from former Senate President Frank Drilon. He was visibly more relaxed and happier, Big Frank, as he faced a live TV and social media audience once more in at the forefront.
What has kept you busy as from the time you retired from politics in 2022?
Well, I was taken in as a senior counsel by my former law firm, Accra Law Offices. So first, I'm the senior counsel there. Number two, I have been requested to sit in a number of boards as an independent director, and I do advise them when my advice is sought. So in that sense, I've been kept busy professionally by my engagement in Accra, by being board member, and by some consultancy from certain companies.
Well, that sounds like there's a lot on your hands to keep you busy.
Well,
do you
yeah.
have time for your 10 grandchildren?
Yes, I have time. I make sure. And I want to state, I am not kept busy. Yes, these activities occupy my time, but it is on my own time. I do not have commitments like court hearings, nothing of that sort. But that is why I have better control of my time, Karen. And that is why when you guys called, I said, sure.
Well, we're very happy for that. And what's your favorite activity with your grandchildren?
My favorite activity. Well, this season of the basketball court, I regularly go to Araneta or to MOA to watch the games with my kids.
Oh, so they love basketball.
So and they always ask me to get them tickets. So that's. But basically, I am kept busy. First, as I said, by my limited professional engagements, but I enjoy the lack of pressure on me as a public servant. You can imagine, Karen, I was in public service for, something like 33 years. Almost on a daily basis, I was under pressure, if not by my work, by media.
Yes.
You cannot blame me if I take time to relax, no pressure, and I just spend my time doing advisory work, consultancy work on a very limited basis.
But back then, when you finished your term as senator, why did you not seek a local position in Iloilo City?
They were offering me to split the congressional district, and I occupy one congressional seat. But Karen, after being in service for, public service for
3 decades.
3 decades, I thought I'm entitled to some time of my own, and I asked myself, what else do I have to do? I'm proud of what I have done, of my record as a public servant, and honestly, let the others do their share naman. So I just sat down, looked back, and sometimes my views are being sought by other by media personalities, and by limited clientele. But otherwise, I just devote time to my family and to myself.
One senatorial candidate during the 2022 elections who left an impressionable mark on the audience was Labor leader Atty. Luke Espiritu. At the Forefront invited him back on TV, his first time after 2 years, for a no-holds-barred, intense, and blunt assessment on VP Sara's 3-part explosive interview.
So now that you're back, and this is your first debut since 2 years of being on television, we're going to have like a series of pictures on our LED, and you have to say the first word that comes into your mind. So no need to explain, just say the first word that comes into your mind. Yes. Okay, so first, BBM.
Budol.
First Lady Lisa Marcos.
Power behind.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte.
Crazy.
Alice Guo.
Pogo Queen.
Pastor Apollo Kibuloy.
Manyakis.
Alam ng taong bayan na hindi ako bratinela.
I think she's a spoiled brat. I think she has been so used to being monarchs in Davao. Like they're the first family in Davao. The father is a verdugo in that place, a kingpin. And they're so used to exercising unbridled powers. And I think that also explains the fact na hindi siya ang pinaka-artikulanteng tao sa buong mundo because she doesn't have to. Kung siya'y magpaliwanag, napakahina niyang magpaliwanag. Hindi nga yan umaattend ng debate kasi ayaw niya makipagdebate. Because nasanay siya, syempre, na she's just wielding power. You know, everyone is at her beck and call. She's a spoiled brat. But not only her. Maraming spoiled brat sa ating bansa. Bongbong Marcos is a spoiled brat. They cannot even articulate on their positions. Kaya hindi totoong hindi siya bratinela. Pero hindi lang siya, I would say.
Ang budget ng Pilipinas ay hawak lang ng 2 tao. Hawak lang siya ni Congressman Zaldico at ni Congressman Martin Romualdez. Kinuha nila yung budget ng DepEd at isa yan sa mga rason kung bakit ako nag-resign sa Department of Education. Hindi na ako papayag na sa susunod na taon, ganyan pa rin ang gawin nila at ako yung mananagot.
That is what is beautiful sa awayan ng mga kapwa magnanakaw. Pagka kapwa magnanakaw nag-awayan, magbabatuhan ng mga bahuyan. And you have to listen kasi lumalabas yung bahu nila eh. And you must always take yung binabato na merong grain of truth. Hindi yan pwedeng imbentuhin. Like it is so intricate, the details kung paano tinaasan ang budget from 5 billion, naging 15 billion. Hindi mo masasabing yan lahat ay kathang-isip o imbento. You know, I would even be assuming or presuming that the Vice President is telling the truth. Why? Siyempre, privy naman kasi siya sa workings ng isang corrupt na gobyerno. Pero I will point out na that does not justify yung mismong hindi niya pag-justify sa budget ng Office of the Vice President.
Nobody knew that she was running for the Senate elections in 2025 until viewers were reminded of this brave woman who once fought for truth and trustworthiness in one of the most sensitive offices in our government. Former COA Commissioner Heidi Mendoza poured her thoughts and her soul regarding the importance of transparency in government budget.
Okay. This is former Ombudsman Simeon Marcelo.
Yun yung nagbukas ng aking kaalaman sa na hindi lang sapat yung auditor ka. Kailangan meron kang investigative mind. And then, siya rin yung unang nagbigay sa akin ng halimbawa na yung commitment and dedication sa trabaho, ito yung ito yung 24 hours magtrabaho. At siya yung kaunahang abogado na hinangaan ko in terms of competence. Kasi nung nasa gobyerno kami, as auditor, kailangan naming makakuha ng ebidensya. Sa akin, nung auditor ako, hindi masyadong malinaw yan. In the sense na audit evidence lang. Pero nung nakilala ko si Atty. Simeon Marcelo, doon ko natutunan, Attorney Karen, Attorney Karen, doon ko na yung kahalagahan na bilang auditor, hindi ka lang nag-audit, tinitingnan mo rin yung elements of the crime. And then yung passion niya na kailangan hindi ka nasasatisfy na nai-file lang. Kailangan sinisiguro mo rin, nakikipagtulungan ka sa mga prosecutors at saka sa mga investigators ng Ombudsman to make sure na tataas yung conviction rate.
So when you investigated the AFP on corruption, were you successful in that in terms of having people be liable? Because you won the Yahoo Modern Day Hero Award in 2011 because of exposure of corruption in the AFP.
Una, sa akin successful in terms of nabalik yung trust di ba? Nag-iba yung environment nun. At pangalawa, naibalik natin yung pera. Ito yung audit natin na na-recover o ng government, na-convict naman yung controller, di ba? And then naibalik yung pera, more than 300 million yung naibalik. Of course, sa tulong ng Sandigan Bayan, ng Ombudsman, and then of course the COA team. Hindi lang yon, nabago natin yung sistema. Kasi meron tinatawag noon na controllership family, Atty. Karen. Sa controllership family, parang selected few lang yung nakakaupo. At meron tayong tinatawag na parang merong mga practices na nagpalalim ng mga tinatawag nating pabaon system, yung conversion, na walang umaamin, pero alam natin na ginagawa. So, sa mga bagay na ito, sa pamantayang ito, tingin ko naman ay successful tayo.
He decided to come out of retirement from politics. Former Representative Bingbong Crisologo shares the ifs and whys of a possible congressional comeback.
You have been away from politics for 6 years.
Yes.
What is the most compelling reason of why you're now deciding to run again?
Well, actually, Karen, I've not been away for 6 years because during the first 3 years, my son was the incumbent congressman. So, of course, I could not oppose him. In the next 3 years, when my son was running for re-election, I ran for Congress in another district. Yan. Now, the reason why I'm running is because of the call of the people. Sa totoo nga, ayoko na sana. No, dahil mag-enjoy na lang, di ba? But, the people, Congressman, gusto namin sana, katulad doon, nakikita namin yung congressman namin, nakakausap namin, nakikipagdalamhati sa amin, nakikipagsaya sa amin, nakakapagtagal na nakipag-usap, papagtyagaan kami. Ito, may mga projects, wala kami makita, hindi namin nakikita. That was their call. So, at first, I resisted, but sabi ko, how could I say no to the people who have supported me for so many years, 18 years, 12 years as congressman and 6 years as councilor. They supported my son, 9 years as a councilor, 3 years as congressman, and my daughter-in-law, 6 years in the city council. How could I say no to them when they needed me?
And Congressman Bingbong, you did serve for 12 years. You were even deputy majority leader for several times.
Yes.
What would you say were your biggest accomplishments when you were in Congress?
Well, we were able to pass laws that would benefit the people. But most of all, in my district, sometimes the people in your district feels that they want more positive action which they can really see rather than laws, because laws they cannot see it, no? So, I made sure that akong nauna, Atty. Karen, na libreng palibing. I made arrangements with yung bigas na pinagbibilihan natin ng gamot, no? With the DSWD also, so that anyone who comes to me and asks for medicines, instead of giving them money or sending them DSWD, I would just look at the amount and I would write a letter to the, anong kung ano ba yun? Mercury Drugstore, yeah. I would write a letter to the Mercury Drugstore, to the accredited Mercury Drugstore, and they would give the medicines directly na. And they would charge it to the funds of the SWD. So those were the arrangements I made. Unfortunately, that was not continued anymore by the congressman after me.
And you plan to bring those back?
Yes, I plan to bring all of those back.
From a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the performance of incumbent congressman for the 1st District of Quezon City, Arjo Ataide?
Perhaps I would rather that I do not answer that, Attorney Karen, because that would be biased, no? Since I'm running against him, no? Let us perhaps ask the people. That's why these coming elections, let the people be the one to judge if how they would rate the first term. But as far as I can recall, in my 3rd term, when I was not able to run, there was another congressman who took my place. When I ran against the incumbent congressman, I beat him because of non-performance.
Who was this congressman?
Congressman Boy Calalay. Non-performance and non-appearance. But he had a reason. He was sick for his 3-year term. Now, I do not know about the incumbent congressman now in our district, what his reason would be. What I heard was that may araw siya hindi nagpapakita kasi nagtatrabaho raw siya bilang artista para meron raw ipamimigay sa mga tao. That's what I heard, according to some people. But as I said, let the people judge him this coming elections, because that's why we have elections, so that the people can judge your performance for the next 3 years. Remember, Atty. Kai was re-elected for 4 terms as congressman and 3 terms as councilor. So if my performance was not good, I would not have been re-elected. That's why I was telling you a while ago that the political battle in the 1st District of Quezon City, where I'm running, is between money and non-appearance versus experience and service.
People have been talking about this series of episodes that you can only watch here at the Forefront. The most talked about Next Gen Politicos when we return after a short break.
All right. HIV and AIDS are 2 different disease entities. HIV is a virus that actually attacks the immune system, particularly the CD4 count that we call, while AIDS is the most advanced stage of HIV. So HIV destroys the CD4 or the immune system, making the body difficult to fight from infections and illnesses. There's no cure for HIV, but there are effective drug treatments that are readily available now that can help people live a long and healthy life. While on the other hand, AIDS, or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, is a condition that occurs when the immune system is severely damaged by HIV. So in layman's term, this is the later stage of HIV already. That is why early diagnosis is very, very important.
He impressed a lot of viewers not only with his fine good looks, but also with his eloquence and intelligent assessment of issues despite his young age. Danzel Fernandez, son of Congressman Dan Fernandez, made heads turn in his full first-length live interview together with another newbie political cutie, Gerald Galang.
You were, for the first time, a board member in 2022. That was
Yeah.
the first time you ran.
Yes, this is my first time, yes.
Why board member? Some people would
Yeah.
choose to start their political career as councilor.
Yes. I think you would think that when you enter politics, you would start like somewhere in the low level, either a SK, then barangay kagawad, then a barangay captain, then head into the sangguniang panglungsod, which is the city councilor. But at this time, when I was really
at the end of my college life, I was really deciding of entering politics. And then I came into this decision that maybe I could enter board member because every time na umiikot po ako, people would be like, ano ang board member? Ano ang bukal kung tawagin nila? So there wasn't really any proper awareness. A councilor would be most commonly known by the people, but board members were somehow underappreciated, I think. So sabi ko, would this be a good entry point? But since my father, being a politician, I asked his advice, and he said that would be a good position to enter as a start. Since being a board member, it's more of overseeing the legislative processes of councilors. So parang you're...
So you don't entirely pass the ordinances,
yes,
but you're just
quote-unquote less
overseeing.
involved with the LGUs in the city. So it's more of an overseeing matter. So when an ordinance or resolution is passed in the barangay level, city level, it also goes to us, di sangguniang panlalawigan. So kami din naman po yung nag-a-approve, and kami din po yung gumagawa ng mga committee reports regarding these ordinances.
And with your 3 years as a board member, what was your biggest accomplishment?
Well, so far, people would say, you're so young, yung political career mo, only 3 years. So far, my biggest accomplishment is establishing really a flagship program, yung feeding program namin, what we call the Mobile Kusina. So talagang umiikot kami sa iba't ibang barangays in Santa Rosa, Binyan, and San Pedro, where we share yung mga pagkain sa mga kabataan. Next naman is yung mga financial assistance programs that talagang nabibigay namin sa mga kababayan po namin. Kasi in our city, one of the biggest concerns is health. And a lot of people would always approach me because kailangan talaga ng tulong medical, they have these sicknesses, they have this disease, and talagang bukal sa loob ko na tulungan sila.
You've served as a city councilor for 1 term in Valenzuela. Why are you now going to Congress suddenly?
Actually, hindi naman po siya sudden. I started again as an SK chairman, and ever since I've had this passion po for public service. I can say that I prepared for this, and now that I'm almost done with my first term as a councilor, I think in Congress, I believe I can serve more. Mas marami pa po akong ma-offer na mas makabagong solusyon sa mga mas napapanahong problema talaga sa aming distrito through legislation with the help of the national government this time.
That's the reason I asked why suddenly, because some would opt to finish 3 terms as councilor, for example.
Yes.
So as city councilor, what was the achievement that that you can say is your best achievement there?
I focused on education po and social services. Committee chairman po ako nun sa City Council. Siguro yung landmark legislations, sa education po, I have proposed an educational assistance for indigent Valenzuelano college students. Ito po yung kahit saan sila nag-aaral na kolehiyo, pwede po silang manghingi ng tulong nila sa kanilang pag-aaral. At meron din po kaming automatic class suspension ordinance. In Valenzuela City, we have a legal basis for class suspensions, at mas mapapabilis po yung mga announcement at mas safe po yung mga estudyante natin tuwing may kalamidad.
What does it mean pag automatic suspension?
Meron po kaming guidelines na po, na halimbawa may heavy rainfall warning ng madaling araw, we can easily suspend classes and continue na lang po through online learning.
Okay, and what other initiatives?
And also uniform financial assistance po, ito po yung for victims of natural disasters, na pag biktima ka ng sakuna outright, may matatanggap po tayo na financial assistance from the local government. For example, partially damaged or totally damaged yung bahay mo sa sunog, nabiktima ka ng sunog, makakuha po kayo ng tulong right away.
And when you said that you feel like you can do more in Congress, can you give us a concrete example of something that you want to do through Congress?
Ang major problem po sa amin ngayon is yung kakulangan sa healthcare facilities. We have an existing hospital, pero it's really congested. And I want to, if given the chance, if I get elected, I would propose legislation focusing on healthcare. To be specific, for example, I would propose to establish a new district hospital in Valenzuela City.
Surprisingly, another next-gen politico made a viral comment and raked in more than 2 million views on TikTok.
Jack.
So, magaling mag-research and team lang. Okay. So, are you dating Jackie Gonzaga?
No,
nakakaya naman kung ako pa mag-deny, di ba? Pero hindi ko kami nag-date ni Jackie. Kaka-break lang yun, alam ko sa boyfriend niya. So, hinaya ko muna siya mag-enjoy, Jackie. Kung ano mang plans mo sa buhay, support lang kita. Basta, I'm just here, waiting for
are
you.
So, friends, pero friends na hoping that someday you...
Hindi, friends muna ako kami para mag-heal muna siya. Mag-heal muna siya.
Okay.
Oo.
Ano po ba ang ideal woman ninyo?
Ideal?
Yes.
Siya? Jackie. Hindi, gusto ko ideal. Hindi mahilig masyado mag-makeup, hindi mabagal gumalaw, mabilis kumilos. Simple lang, yun ang ideal ko. Mahal ang tondo. Yun ang gusto ko. Pag pinakita ko yung tondo, yayakapin niya, mamahalin niya yung mga tao. That's my ideal girl.
So you really know, like you love your roots.
Yes.
Oo. And what do you like about Jackie?
Kalog yan eh. Kalog yan kahit anong pakainin mo dyan, kakainin naman niya. Yan yung pinakakalog sa set. Yan yung pinakamaingay din sa set. Yan din pinakamagaling kumanta sa set. Oh. Siya, sintonado.
Sintonado?
Sintonado na kumanta. Magaling lang sumayaw pero sintonado kumanta si Jackie.
Okay.
Another most talked about guesting of Next Gen Politicos was the first full live studio interview of Paolo Marcoleta, son of Congressman Rodante Marcoleta. Paolo not only looks and sounds familiar as a sprinting image of his popular father, he also attracted the curiosity of viewers as he shared the limelight with another political scion, Chiz Atienza, daughter of Manila Mayor Lito Atienza.
What are your thoughts and experiences when it comes to your father being a controversial politician? For example, recently in the budget hearings, he was one of those people that defended Vice President Sara Duterte. And he's also had a lot of verbal exchanges with other congressmen. How did you take that?
Well, it was unplanned. Yun pong nangyari. Si Daddy po kasi, he sees things in black and white. Either mali ka or tama ka. So ito po, yung nakita niya, the way the OVP budget is being handled in Congress, parang hindi na tama sa tingin niya dahil if you look at the President, even Vice President Leonor Robredo did not experience such scrutiny and yung panggigisa na ginagawa nila despite belonging to the opposition, hindi naman siya humarap sa ganyang panghihiya na ginagawa ngayon sa Kamara.
A lot of people don't know your personality compared to your father. If you were to be elected in Congress as a party list nominee, will you have similar views or the same character as your father?
Siguro po, I myself, I have big shoes to fill. Yung daddy ko po kasi is an accomplished, brilliant legislator. Pero tingin ko po, hindi ko susundan yung kanyang estilo. Dahil yung baka hindi ko kaya yung ganun eh. Yung pagiging controversial. Siguro I will take the quieter path. No, siguro iba siguro pong magiging diskarte ko pag ako po ay pinalad na maupo bilang representante ng aming partido.
So I guess, did you take after your mom as well? Malumanay ba ang mommy mo?
Si mami ko po ang nerbyosa. Kasi kung ganun, siyempre I consider her health. No? Kung ganyan na controversial lagi si daddy at laging kinakabahan ng aking nanay, siguro kung ako iisipin ko yung kalusugan ng nanay ko, siguro isasaalang-alang ko yung ano niya na hindi masangkot sa mga ganyang klase ng kontrobersiya. Pero looking back, I think it's bound to happen. I mean, yung mga ginawa po ni Daddy, kung titimbangin mo, wala naman pong mali doon dahil may pinaglalaban naman po siya.
And how would you describe yourself if you had to choose just one or two words to distinguish yourself from your dad?
I'm the cooler version of my dad.
Cooler from the temper side and also like cooler na mas
In all aspects, siguro.
in your family, because your father was in politics for a long time and even your grandfather, were you used to that growing up, like being subject to criticisms or having to face criticisms?
Oh, definitely, definitely. But if there's anything that my father's taught me growing up, that is to live my life for the Lord. So even if I lived on a fishbowl, kahit papaano, hindi naman masama ang nakita sa akin dun sa loob ng fishbowl. Dahil ako'y namuhay para sa Panginoon, and I tried to do my best as His daughter to make the most out of the opportunity of being the daughter of one of the best vice mayor and best mayor of Manila. So mahirap to actually na makita lahat ng tao yung gagawin mo. Pero I felt growing up that it was my responsibility to be a model. So I was very aware, actually, when I was growing up, Atty. Karen. And I felt like people were watching me, kids were watching me. So I had to show them how it's like to live a life that is anchored on my faith and sa Panginoon.
What about Ali? Is Ali still in politics or does he have plans to remain in politics?
Right now, he is not. He is with Department of Agriculture, helping sa Kadiwa program ng ating mahal na Pangulo. And I'm not sure if he has plans to run again, but definitely not in this election.
Let's talk about you as a person. You were also a hands-on mom for several years. What made you decide to finally enter politics?
It was a process for me. Kasi hands-on mom ako. I had to let go of everything that I was doing for around 12 years just to make sure that my kids are, guided well. Pero dinala ko ng Panginoon sa telebisyon bilang isang broadcast journalist. And I think this whole process, kasi 6 na taon ako, Atty. Karen, as a broadcast journalist, the whole process and mga nakita ko in that profession catapulted to my decision to run because I feel like I was prepared by the Lord through everything that I've been through during the time when naging broadcast journalist ako to the present season of my life.
2024 was a fruitful year for At the Forefront as the program experienced birth pains but managed to pull through and end the year on a high note. Expect At the Forefront to remain at its best in 2025, right at the forefront. Join us again tomorrow as we end 2024 by taking a peek at our future through the eyes of a psychic and tarot card reader. This is Ferdi Salvador. On behalf of Atty. Karen Jimeno, thank you for spending your hour with us.